Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Brian7474, here to give you another classic World of Warcraft guide. Today we're looking at some sweet spots for grinding gold between level 35 and level 45 to help you pay for your first mount. This guide is meant as a general guide that will work for all classes or races on Alliance or Horde. This guide is mainly centered around vendoring, but there are going to be many cases where the auction house will make you lots of gold with some of the special items we'll be talking about today. Just a quick disclaimer, this guide is meant for all classes, but there's a few classes that are much better at making gold. One of them would be the rogue, and the other would be the mage. Now, a rogue or a mage can still follow this guide, but I can give you much more useful info in a future video. That being said, no matter what class you are, if you follow this guide, you will make the same amount of gold no matter what, and that is a hell of a lot of gold. So, continue watching if you are interested in making a lot of gold to help pay for your first mount. Let's first look at the rock elementals in the Badlands. There are a few enemies in the Badlands that give a lot of gold per hour via farming, and really the rock elementals are no exception to that. Now you can choose to either vendor or auction off the items that fall off of the rock elementals based on your server's economy. But even with just vendoring, you'll make about 7 gold per hour off of the elementals drops. That being said, elemental earth is usually a great item you want to throw on the auction house to make some extra money on the side. You can make around 7 to 10 gold per hour just working this one spot. The biggest challenge you're going to face with the rock elementals is that they're extremely popular to farm at this level range. Therefore, it's usually very hard to get on top of farming these guys consistently, unlike other things you'll see on this list. Now the rock elementals can be found in these areas of the Badlands map. You'll want to check both areas to see if there's anyone there. If not, you want to farm there if possible, because you'll make a lot of gold per hour. Due to the popularity of the mats these guys drop, chances are you'll have to move on to a different mob to farm. There are a lot of different choices in the Badlands just around the corner luckily. But these guys are undeniably one of the best farms for easy gold per hour in this level range. So if you see that no one's farming these guys, you want to jump on top of them. A great alternative to any other farm in the Badlands is the Ridge Huntress. There are a lot of different spawn points for the Ridge Huntresses, and they aren't very popular due to the more popular areas in the Badlands. That being said, the Ridge Hunter still makes for a very reliable gold farm at a safe 5 to 7 gold per hour just via vendoring materials dropped. For any of the spots that we talk about today, if there's going to be competition anywhere, it's not going to be the Ridge Huntress. This is going to be the safest spot to farm if any other spot in this video is taken, which is perfect because it's in the center of the Badlands, which is where 3 of the spots we're talking about today are taking place. And these guys are very easy to find, and they stand out a lot, just walking around near the base of mountains, in the spot shown here. Now not only are these guys easy to find, but they're all clumped really close together, and they go down very quickly. This is probably going to be the most consistent farm in this video, just because of how unpopular the area is, and because of how quick and easy it is to kill groups of these things. Now there is another high income farm in the Badlands, which is the Scalding Whelps in the Far East Mountains. These guys give one of the best returns of gold in this list, just from vendoring. And if you get the rare pet drop, then you'll also get a nice little boost via the auction house every once in a while. Now you're going to make between 7 to 10 gold per hour in this spot, if no one else is farming here. But 9 times out of 10, there is someone farming here. Almost every time I visited for this video, there was someone whacking at the very limited amount of NPCs here, and there is not a lot of spawn points for these guys. Generally what I do is I check here every few hours in between farming Ridge Huntress, as when there's no other players to compete with, it's a fantastic farm, and luckily it's very close to the Ridge Huntress farm. Now we're going to ditch the Badlands and head over to a spot that's a little bit more cheerful. In the jungles of Stranglethorn, there are raptors that stalk around in little packs. These jungle stalkers give a very decent gold rate, of about 6 gold per hour, based just on vendor drops. Now I found these guys were kind of popular to farm, but there's just so many of them that you'll rarely have trouble farming, even if you're sharing the spot with someone else. Now jungle stalkers can be found in the middle west part of Stranglethorn Vale, as seen on this map here, along the coast. They're also surprisingly weak, even if you're at level 38, and taking them down quickly is pretty easy with most classes at this level. Pretty close to here, in Stranglethorn Vale, you'll also find another very nice grinding spot, if it's available to you. Assuming there isn't other players here, the cold Eye Basilisks make for a pretty sweet farm, just for the base gold rate of between 5 to 7 gold per hour, just via vendoring. But on top of all that, you have a 1% chance of this trinket dropping. Now just because of how rare you get trinkets in Classic World of Warcraft, you'll find that this trinket is always selling well on the auction house in your server. Still, you should always keep an eye on the value of this item, and if you see that the value is up on the auction house, farm the heck out of it. Not only that, but you should probably keep one of these for yourself, since it's actually a pretty nifty little toy up to higher levels when you get more useful trinkets. Now these crocodile mobs can be found in the same sort of middle western area of Stranglethorn Vale as the raptors, usually along the coastlines here. I find they're very close to the jungle stalkers, so it's very easy to switch between farms if you're finding one is not working the way you want to. With these mob farms in Stranglethorn Vale, your biggest worry is going to be enemy players, who will probably gank you if they see you. I don't personally like grinding in Stranglethorn Vale for this reason, since I play in a PvP server, and instead I usually choose to go to the Swamp of Sorrows, which I find is a little bit less contested between players. Also, for real, if you're one of those guys that ganks lobies in Stranglethorn Vale, you're like level 60, f*** you, dude. You f***ing suck. For real. Really annoying. In the swamp, you'll find a creature you might recognize at first glance. What I'm talking about is that the Swamp Jaguar actually shares the same model as the Ridge Huntress, as well as the same loot table. You can consider this an okay alternative to pretty much any other farm in this video, if they're all busy. But it's probably the most passable gold farm in this video. But again, it's really good if for some reason all these other spots are super crowded. There's nothing particularly interesting about this spot or these mobs, except that you can grind them as low as level 35. Something else great about this spot is that it's not very popular, so you won't run into other players very often here. Now, Swamp Jaguars can be found in the majority of the western section of Swamp of Sorrows, as per this map here. Even if this was suddenly a very popular spot tomorrow, there are cat spawns everywhere, and it's very unlikely you'll run out of guys to farm. Now our last grinding spot in this video also happens to be in the Swamp of Sorrows. I just want to quickly give a shout out to those rogues, as you'll be making a lot of extra gold here, just by pickpocketing these guys on top of farming them. But even without pickpocketing these guys, every class can make a lot of gold here. Deep in the Swamp of Sorrows is a little village of creatures called the Lost Ones. These guys are humanoid and will be mainly farming them for their grey items, which are things like weapons, armor, etc., along with the silver they drop. These guys also drop silk cloth. The return rate of silk cloth is going to depend on your server, and that's going to decide whether you're going to want to vendor these silk cloth or auction it off. But the most important stuff, once again, is the grey items, the armor and the weapons that you can vendor off. If you vendor everything off, the silk cloth, the grey items, etc., you're looking at approximately 5 to 7 gold per hour with these guys. Also, make sure you're pickpocketing if you're a rogue, because you're missing out on gold if you don't. The Lost Ones can be found in the northern, middle sort of area of the Swamp of Sorrows, in the little villages marked here. This area is also a great farm not only for the drops off of the Lost Ones themselves, but also because of the various chests that will spawn here, that give away awesome loot, such as BOE rare items, that can also be auctioned off, or just other junk that could be vendored off for extra gold per hour. Personally, this was one of my favorite spots with my rogue, not only for all the reasons I previously mentioned, but because it's also just a very unpopular spot to grind. Even if the spot's already being farmed by someone, you could always just run over to the Swamp Jaguars, and that will mean you're always guaranteed some sort of income when you're in the Swamp of Sorrows. And that's the end of the guide there. I sure hope you found today's video helpful. It took me quite a bit of time to make this one, due to all the different research involved. I'm also going to work on gold specific guides for some classes if there's enough interest. But until then, I'm going to be working on a gold guide for those of you who hit level 60 and are looking to pay for those epic mounts. By the way, I want to thank you all for watching my World of Warcraft videos. I've actually really enjoyed watching these videos blow up the way they have recently. If you found this video helpful, please make sure you do like the video, as well as subscribe if you're interested in other guides, such as the level 60 gold video coming up shortly. I want you to comment below if there's a good spot I forgot to mention in this video, or if perhaps you know a good spot for my level 60 video that I'll be working on next. I want to thank you again for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next World of Warcraft video. Until then, have a great day. See ya.